We have a Fox News alert. Fox has obtained a copy of notes that Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal attorney, took while interviewing fired Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin in January. Shokin claims his investigation stopped out of fear of the United States. Shokin was investigating Burisma, where Joe Biden's son Hunter served on the board. But today, former Ukraine envoy Kurt Volker reportedly told lawmakers that Giuliani was warned Ukrainian claims regarding the Bidens weren't credible. So what's the truth? Joining me now is Rudy Giuliani himself. So, Rudy, is Shokin a credible source?
Well, Shokin, we can't determine if Shokin is a credible source because nobody investigated it. And if I had been told that, Shokin is not a credible source, I would have immediately said, did you do an investigation? And determine that, because I'd have been curious as to how they came to that conclusion if they didn't do an investigation, because I would have then suspected that the Obama holdovers who were trying to protect several people in the State Department were lying to them. The only way you can determine if Shokin is telling the truth or not is to question him and then determine, does he have corroboration or doesn't he? And he does happen to have corroboration in the person of two other prosecutors. So I'm curious whether the State Department ever conducted that investigation. And let me clear up the conversation with Pompeo. I turned over that outline that you see to Secretary Pompeo. I had it hand-delivered to him. I had a conversation with him thereafter, and he told me that he was going to turn it over not to investigate Biden, which is, I think, maybe the problem, but that's the way the press wants to drive it. He told me he was going to turn it over for internal investigation because within his purview, the real questions were how improper were the actions of the ambassador and several other people that are named there in the State Department that appear to have been involved in collecting the dirty information on the Trump campaign, which, in fact, there's a finding of a Ukrainian court that there was illegal information.
Yeah, Rudy, I got to tell you, I think Americans in general can't follow most of this, okay?
Of course they
can follow it because I live, breathe, and eat this.
It's a big hoax.
Most people are like, he's saying this, he's saying this. One guy resigned, and meanwhile, they're just trying to, like, pay their bills at the end of the month, okay? And they're, like, hoping the stock market doesn't crash. So most people cannot follow this, but they can, hold on, they can see that there seems to be some confusion within the administration. Like, Pompeo seems like he's saying that, he's saying he didn't promise to look into the Bidens.
He didn't.
He felt the need through sources to say, well, we didn't promise that. But you seemed to indicate that the other night with us.
Well, because he was given a mischaracterization of what I said. I never said he promised to investigate Biden. He didn't say that. What he said was he was going to give it to his investigators to conduct an internal investigation. And I was happy about that because I thought if they did an internal investigation, it would lead to everything else. Now, I see no evidence that they did an internal investigation, but then again, they may have. So if Volker had said to me that my sources were incredible or wrong, any of them, I would have immediately said, did you do an investigation? Because I really wanted them to. So people have to be careful about the words here. And I agree with you. It's too confusing except one thing. I learned as a prosecutor, I was taught this, follow the money. And all the money is going to the Bidens. That's where the millions of dollars are going. A crooked.
All right, everybody's calling that a conspiracy in the media. Every time. The New York Times has a piece out tonight
it is a conspiracy.
About Trump's special envoy, and it's like unproven conspiracy, unsubstantiated. I mean, this is repeated all day long and every network.
That's to protect Joe Biden.
Rudy Giuliani making unsubstantiated claims about the Bidens. You yourself say it wasn't investigated. So yet the appearance of impropriety, there's no doubt there's an appearance of impropriety. At the very least, Joe Biden should never have been doing Ukraine policy when his son was on this board. Should just never have been happening. Period. End of story.
And the son should not have been paid $5 to $8 million when he just had come out of a drug problem. Nobody's going to put him on a board.
That's Burisma's thing. But the vice president should not have been engaging in this behavior while his son was on. Period. That should never have happened. For any member of the media to claim that that's cool doesn't know what they're talking about. Let me just say that. People can understand that, Rudy. They can understand that right off the bat. I want to show a text message that was released today. This is between Bill Taylor, the top U.S. diplomat to Ukraine, Rudy, and Gordon Sondland, U.S. ambassador to the EU. Okay, this was from September 9th. And he said, as I said on the phone, I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance to help with a political campaign, right? Then Sondland says, Bill, I believe you're incorrect about President Trump's intentions. The president has been crystal clear. No quid pro quos of any kind. The president's trying to evaluate whether Ukraine is going to adopt transparency and reforms that Zelensky promised during the campaign. I suggest we stop the back and forth by text. Sondland, ambassador to EU, basically telling Taylor, knock it off. That's not what the president intended, making it clear that that transcript, the president's transcript, was about corruption in the Ukraine with a reference to, look into this, because this was part of the corruption. Rudy, your thoughts on this text?
Well, absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly what it was about. It's been mischaracterized. The Democrats have pushed a narrative with a press that is willing to print anything they say, that the president was trying to hurt a political opponent, when in fact, from long before Biden was even in the race, the president's concern was with how the Ukrainians had participated in collusion and how the vice president of the United States had seriously damaged the integrity of our country by having his son get millions and millions of dollars while he was doling out billions of dollars, which on the face of it is entirely corrupt.
Hey, Rudy, Mike McFaul was on MSNBC tonight. He said this, watch.
I think Ambassador Volker signed up to this job to try to end the war in Donbass. In the middle of all that, President Trump, with his other special envoy, Rudy Giuliani, decides that the only thing they care about with Ukraine is, one, investigating Hunter Biden and the corruption, quote unquote, of the vice president, and two, he wants to get Putin off the hook and blame the Ukrainians for the interference in 2016.
Rudy, the former ambassador to Russia, says Trump's trying to get Putin off the hook, or you're trying to get Putin off the hook, or both?
When was he ambassador?
During Obama.
Is he the ambassador when Obama said, after the election, I'll go easy on Vladimir?
Yes, I believe so.
Did that phony do anything about that?
All right, Rudy, great to see you tonight.
Oh,
Thanks,
my God, they're such phonies. But they have the press in their pocket.
Yeah, well, we've exposed them.